Welcome, Robin, to Tea Time. How have you been?
Good, good. Lots of work, lots of school, but getting it done.
Yeah, you're juggling so much. How have you been managing that?
By the skin of my teeth.
Yeah,
I just trying to make time for everything and still have time to do things that I like D&D, and that stuff really does help. It's a good escape and
it's a good way to
a time.
decompress. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Are you okay? Oh, I see. Bobby's in the chat. He says hello. Okay. Let's get started. So, I wanted to ask you about. So, I don't know if anybody has mentioned this before on Tea Time or if we really talk about it, but you're actually the one who captures all of our quotables every week and like helps write our session titles. Tell me about
Yeah.
that. They're always so good, and I love the quotes that you pick, and they always crack everyone up.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit behind on getting them posted, but I do have them for every episode. So I am not the greatest at taking notes, because what I always end up doing when I'm taking notes is write down things that I think are funny, or things that I'm
All of
like,
our
oh,
memes.
yes, oh, I like the way that sounds, or something like that. And I look back and I have absolutely nothing useful in my notes
Only
whatsoever.
funnies.
So when we were kind of thinking like, okay, who's going to do what part? And eventually we want to have more content and stuff like that about
Yeah.
like putting out YouTube shorts and stuff like that. And so there have been some brilliant one-liners or some brilliant conversations. Um, and it just makes me giggle and I instantly write them down. So I try to go back through afterwards and write those out, re-listen, make sure that I quoted them correctly, and then put the timestamp so that we can do things with them later and we can just find them really quick. So
Yeah. What have
it's a
been
lot of fun.
okay, since since you are our quotables keeper, what are some of your favorite quotes or just moments? Like silly
Oh
moments.
gosh, out of all of these, that's so hard without like going back and looking at them. Um, so the whole conversation where you were basically birthing Glitterbell and
No.
everyone else was just like so awkwardly uncomfortable, and you're just doing clandestine things under your skirts. That whole thing made me laugh so hard. Um, yeah, that was a real good one. Gosh, there's been so many good things. I feel like our group has a really good blend of serious
Yeah.
moments and absolutely just hysterical things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot. I will say that whole thing, and it lasted, like it happened in, I don't know, two or three different episodes. There were pieces of the birth of Glitterbell, and they were just so
It's the
good.
miracle of life, Robin. I don't know what you're talking about.
So funny.
Yeah, speaking of, I feel like we have really hilarious moments and just really we've been having some pretty dramatic moments recently, especially last episode with you and Bobby. I guess I
Yeah.
should say with Bula and
Bula
Marway.
and Marway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, Bula is kind of for the most part, she's more of a kind of a lighthearted character, and Marway
Yeah.
just has so many levels of
Yes.
just these intense emotions. And so it's like when
Yeah.
we actually have a second where we can role play like a conversation like that, um, I like to watch that kind of roller coaster of Marway being so in his feels and Bula trying to not absolutely not discredit his emotions,
Mm-hmm.
but to try to help, just to take a little bit of the pressure off of him. Um,
Yeah.
as best she can. So it to me, it's really fun to play against that, um, and watch them still be able to have a very serious conversation while
Yes.
she's on this level and he's on this level.
Yeah.
Um, I like that back and forth. I think it's a lot of fun.
Okay, we have a question in chat. How would you characterize the relationship between Maraway and Bula?
Yeah. So we I feel like we did kind of address that in this last episode, that
Yeah.
she's his protector,
Mm-hmm.
and but it's in a very familiar and caring way.
Mm-hmm.
Um you would for a very close sibling. So she feels kind of like his big sister. She cares about him. She's she kind of wants to watch out for him. She wants him to do well, but she also feels a sense of responsibility for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so when Bula is interacting with Maraway, is she trying to make him feel better because she recognizes the pain that he feels? Is that what she's trying to do?
Yeah, she definitely feels his sadness, and she's been there every night
Yes.
since they started traveling together.
Yeah.
She has heard his nightmares
Mm-hmm.
every night. She hears what he goes through when nobody else sees him. Um, Luckily, she's a pretty heavy sleeper, so it doesn't bother her rest, but she does acknowledge,
She
and she
knows it's
does.
yeah, she knows it's
She,
happening.
she knows
Yeah.
what he goes through. That's why she's always so careful to make sure that she has at least some body part near him so that he knows that she's there and she's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like if they're in a bedroom and he's underneath and she's on top, like bunk beds, she puts a hand under the bed. Or, if they're out on the road, they're sleeping next to each other. So just that security of, hey, somebody is here. Somebody's always here. Um,
Yeah. You guys always have these really sweet, adorable moments with each other. Like you said, like you're always comforting him and looking after him, and I thought Bula handled the situation really well. She was very caring, but not out of character for her. But she
hmm
was still very supportive, so I really liked that. And I think yeah, Marwe was feeling a lot. Were you surprised by the reveal? You as Robin, did you
um,
know?
I didn't know. I knew there was something coming. I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
exactly when or how it was going to be revealed, and I didn't know exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Um, but did it surprise me that Marway's a little prince?
Yeah, I
I
know.
don't, I don't think so. I don't think it did. I don't, when I think about it, I'm like, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
it does.
Um, just the big amount of responsibility he feels for Sanctuary
Yes,
is
yeah.
more than it just being his home. And now we know why.
Yeah,
It's because
yeah. He feels
technically
responsible. Yeah.
his mother she's gone. And so technically that means that he's supposed to be in charge and taking care
Mm-hmm.
of and protecting that whole community.
Yeah.
So that makes it make even more sense that feels so responsible for what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I I didn't catch when we were making that contract for our devil army.
hmm
He did mention that he can't head another. Oh, someone. Oh, hi, Cartridge. She subscribed. Thank you. Thanks for subscribing. um, he mentioned that he couldn't take control of another army, and that kind of makes sense
hmm
now. But I definitely didn't catch that.
I didn't either. Well, because he also said, like, he said that he couldn't or didn't. And I thought it had more to do with his moral
Me
ground.
too. I didn't think it was political. I thought
And
it was just, oh, I don't get into fights.
don't do that. Because he also, at the same time, he said something to Eidos, who we already knew was some sort of royalty, and told him that he couldn't take control over it
Mm.
either.
Yeah, see, I
So
guess I'm
I
pretty
thought he
dense.
was
I
just,
didn't pick up on that.
you're like, yeah, sure, whatevs.
Sounds good. Let's go. Anyway.
So I thought he was just talking about that. I didn't think he was talking about like himself, but apparently other people caught it. Like some of our audience caught it. So they're
Yes. Yeah.
sneaky sneakers,
Yeah. They're far more
or they're
clever
just
than I
smarter
am.
than me. Oh my goodness, were you surprised?
I was surprised. I definitely didn't see that coming. And I definitely didn't piece it together. But now that someone has revealed to me the pieces, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, 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 exactly. I mean, any riddle is easy after you know the
Yeah.
answer, right? So,
Oh yeah, of course. How obvious.
oh yeah, yeah, I know all along.
How do you think Bull is reacting? Do you think she has a clue about it, or does she see Marway differently?
Don't think so. She already wants to protect him to the utmost of her ability, and to her, it doesn't make a difference if he's, you know, the prince of the entire world or the booger on the bottom of somebody's shoe. That's still the person that she wants to protect. She's
Yeah,
chosen to protect. She feels a connection to him, and he could be the poorest or the grandest, and it doesn't really matter to Bula.
yeah,
That's still her person.
yeah. How do you envision your relationship with Marway growing as the campaign continues?
Um, I think that she's going to try to help him be stronger and braver when he needs to be. And I
Mm,
think that I feel like she's going to learn more of her own purpose and how what she's doing with him and how protective she is over him could it is going to show her that she's still useful, she's still wanted, she still has good to do. Um,
mm-hmm.
and the hope is that that translates into, the rest of what she does.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Bula's on kind of her own journey too, because she's had a painful past too, and we get glimpses of that. Even though she's a very silly character, I
Yeah.
think we do get glimpses of your past.
Hmm. She talks a lot about her family,
Yeah.
extended family, but it seems odd for somebody that is so talks about family so much and that you can tell that, you know, she's talking about things that her second cousin twice removed,
Mm-hmm.
but that she must have seen often to have
Yeah.
these stories, must have talked to often. They must have lived together, So a place where all these extended family members stay and live together, and she's not there.
Yeah.
So there has to be, a reason or something why.
Yeah. I feel like we're in a part of the campaign where some of us might have some opportunities to go home. I think Serafina's might be the closest, just in terms of the story and also physically.
Might be the closest. We're literally talking like
We're like across the street.
literally right there. She might be the closest, but by that I mean like
I
the
need to
building
check.
next to us.
Let me check the map.
Yeah, I feel like we learned some interesting things about Serafina as well. Um, I was very surprised. Like I knew there was the whole thing about your family and all that stuff, and that
Mm-hmm.
that where we were going were places that you had been. But when she
Yeah.
said something about your parents being like right there, like
Yes.
they're in the town we're in, right?
There, it's like the next town over. It's very, very
Okay, so
close.
we're like
Yeah.
very close. Yeah, I was just like, oh, like here, like right here.
Yeah.
Oh,
We can see it. We can see my house.
yeah. So like that it had come up, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, by the way, that's my mom.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, that's happening right now. Like, yeah. So
Oh, Dane says, I
Yeah.
thought it was in the same town too, Robin.
Yeah. Apparently, it's the town over. We're close
Yeah,
enough.
it's, it's close. It's close by.
Yeah, I was just like, that one did kind of shock me a little bit. So then I was like, oh, what's that gonna look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be rough, I think, because I think Seraphina's relationship with her family and her parents are. I feel like they do kind of mirror Bula's. So maybe if Bula sees Seraphina at home, maybe
Yeah,
she might empathize a little bit because Seraphina is very different from her family. And so I think if and when we go, I think it'll be very obvious how different she is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Those things that you don't necessarily have control over,
Yeah.
and people want to shame you for.
Yes. So, yeah, Serafina is experiencing something very, very similar. I think she feels a lot of pressure to come into her sorcerer powers. And so, yeah, she feels a lot of shame because that never came for her and she's just different because everyone else in
Yeah,
her family obviously have come into their powers. And
yeah,
also, I think just in terms of their personality, and you'll see in other ways just how different she belongs, and it'll be interesting to see Ados within her family too, because they
yeah.
they love him. So I think it'll be really
Yeah.
funny.
Oh man, are you ready for that? Are you ready for all that role play and?
I guess I have to get ready. I gotta buckle up. I need to practice.
Yeah, I think I think you'll do great.
Thank you. But yeah, it kind of sounds like Zada even brought up mentioning going home too, even though he's
Mhm.
extremely far away. I think he might be the farthest
Yeah, I
away.
think
Yeah.
on another continent or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think do you think Robin would entertain going home?
Bula.
I mean, yeah, Boo.
Yeah, I was like I go home all the time, so
I'm home right now.
um, I don't know. I don't know. Um, I think that she would be worried about the reception if she did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Zada brought something up that I think hasn't really hit Serafina yet. Oh, Bobby says, at least Zada's home is in the dimension. um, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. Zada brought something up that I think Serafina hadn't really paused to consider, which is that you might not ever see them again. Things are getting really serious. And this this might be a last chance to see your family before something really terrible happens. Do you think that would change Bula's mind, or do you think she's made her peace and she's kind of that chapter in her life is closed?
I think with Bula, it's not whether or not she wants to see her family. She
Mm-hmm.
would go home. It's whether or not her family would see her.
I see. Yeah. That's really hard.
So it's like, it doesn't matter how she feels about it.
Yeah.
If you knock on the door and they bar it and lock it, then you're not seeing anybody. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, that's some juicy tea. Card trick is commenting. Ooh.
yeah, that's a juicy tidbit.
Something else that has been coming up with Bula is she seems to be it's the beginning of her starting to grasp her a control over her cleavage, her radiant cleavage. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So she's had some weird things pop up, some weird things
Yeah,
happen,
yeah.
especially when her emotions are high with her rage and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
um, at first she tried to ignore them, tried to say, "Oh, that's not me. I don't
Mhm.
know where that's coming from." But it just kept happening, and so eventually she was like, "You know what? This could be another weapon."
Mhm. Yeah, it's just like an axe, but it's your boobies.
Yeah, So yeah, some of the ones that she's because they kind of pop up at random times, and so she doesn't always have a lot of control over what she can use, but she is
Yeah,
starting to
yeah.
find these powers, and so instead of just letting them happen, she's trying to start just kind of harnessing them again.
Yeah.
So like trying to figure out exactly how the cleavage
Just
blinds
like,
people. Like trying, like if I squeeze it real hard together and then let them go, is that going to hit somebody harder or do better damage or point the way I want it to point?
yeah,
Um,
that would definitely help our views. So,
yeah.
yes.
So at this point, she's like, "Well, these things are not going away, so let's just try and use them."
yeah.
So she's trying to get a handle on it. It's weird. This is not something that she ever saw growing up. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So she's never seen anything like this before. So that's why it's so
mhm.
confusing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely like knew that magic and stuff existed, may have seen like
Mm-hmm.
a traveling sales wizard or what have you, but as far as like in her community, that's not a thing.
Yeah. How do you think she's feeling when she's trying to navigate this confusion and this new territory?
Usually whilst she's trying to navigate it, she's raging. So angry, bloodthirsty,
Yeah.
just wants to see what else she can do damage with. But it's just it's a lot to process. And she's been with Marway and she's watched him do so much magic. Like,
Yeah.
so I think that has helped her a little bit embrace it too. And watching how he does his spells and summons things.
Mm-hmm.
And she's watched Adosin Battle do his flourishy dancing spells
Yeah.
and even
Yeah.
watched like Seraphina and Killian and, you know, even Zada at this point with his elemental
That's true.
magics
Yeah.
and stuff. And she's like, well, if they can get a handle on this, I can get a handle on this. So she's trying.
Yeah. There is a question in chat. Do we know Bula's barbarian subclass?
We have not outright said it, but it seems like she has some awfully wild magic going on. So there's that.
yeah. Yeah.
Read through your barbarian subclasses. You'll get it.
How wild. Oh, that's wild. Look, everybody's making the same joke.
That's wild.
I love it. Do you think we'll see more vulnerability from Bula? I think Serafina and Bula might be the most closed off in the group
Yeah.
emotionally.
Yeah. Again, the way she was raised. You just keep the
Yeah.
messy stuff to yourself.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the more that the more that the group opens up, the more that she's gonna feel maybe safer too. But
Mm,
also there's just gonna be things that are gonna come about that she's gonna have to kind of be that open and vulnerable to get through.
yeah.
If that makes sense at all, without giving away plot points and whatnot. But there's just gonna be things that come up that she's gonna get to a point where she has to open
Yeah.
to understand or to ask the questions that she needs to ask to understand. We'll get there.
Hmm. Okay, so like to whom are these questions directed?
Oh, I don't know yet.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know
So
yet.
okay.
So I'm like, even me as the player, like I have this her story, but I don't
Mhm.
have like a this happens at this time, this happens at this time, because a lot of it has to do with what's happening in the story, where we
Yeah.
are, who asks what questions as to when certain things will naturally come about. So she has her arc. It's just a matter of where does that happen?
Yeah, what do you think would make Bula feel safe to be more vulnerable?
I'm not 100% sure yet.
Yeah, yeah. I can't think
And
of anything either. She's a hard nut to crack.
she is. I think there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'm working on, like, I'm starting to form some things in my mind, and when that time comes, it'll be obvious.
Yeah. Like you'll know it
Um,
when you see it, that
like,
opportunity
and there
window.
will be, yeah, and there will be parts, because of some of the things that I know about some of the other stories that are going to happen. Um, there's going to be parts where it's going to happen. It's just a
Mm,
matter of what's that going to look like, and I'm honestly kind of excited just to wait and see what that's going to look like too. So
yeah.
all about the role play, man.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what opportunities will open Bula up. I do think for Serafina, it'll probably be coming up when she goes home.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. How could it not? Well, I mean, I guess there are lots of ways that it could not, honestly, because it could be kind of like a shutdown, and um, but yeah, I'm really interested to see how that goes, going back to y'all's school where you went and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we gotta take Kimberly to orientation and sign her up for
Yes,
classes.
yes.
Um, do you have any predictions for coming up?
Um,
For any like story beats?
do we have any predictions?
Yeah.
Not really. This is gonna sound weird, but I like to be surprised by the story as much as the audience. So, like, there's a couple things that I know, but like I kind of like not knowing what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You guys are such good players, and Kara's such a good DM that
She is, yeah.
I'm just like, I'm actively playing, but I'm also just like totally engrossed in watching the story too.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then what?
Yeah.
And then what?
Do
So
you do you think Bula is gonna have a love interest?
I have no idea. I don't know.
What kind
Um,
of guy or girl do you think Bula would be interested in?
well, I'd have to say that somebody who cooks well would definitely
Yeah.
get her
Yeah.
attention.
Okay. 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 I like that. I like that.
um, she wants somebody that's not intimidated by her, and
Mm-hmm.
that could keep up, and in activities and in drinking. Um, she's a big girl. She can hold a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. It's not something she at this moment is really actively seeking, but you know, again, I like to be excited too. So if it happens in the story, it happens, but it would be something that she would struggle a little bit with, trying not to be distracted from protecting Marway.
Marway, do you hear that? You are preventing your big
No,
sister
that's
Bula from finding love. Get out of the way.
that's not what I meant at all. She's on the road to finding a purpose, and she just, doesn't want to get too distracted.
Bobby says Marway would love to see her have a fairy tale love.
We'll see. We shall see. I never know what Kara has going on in that devious little brain of hers either. So
Yeah.
who
All right, we
knows?
got some comments in chat. Not weird at all. I like to develop my characters as the story progresses. I often change aspects of a character as the story goes on. Okay, so it's kind of just
Yeah,
like see where the story goes and then how your character's going to react to those situations instead of like planning them out. I think that's how I play Serafina too. I don't really know what direction she's going to go in. Every secret that she has or everything that I know about Serafina, I I don't always do a great job, but I try to portray it and I try not to make it a secret to the audience. So, whatever I know, they should know, unless I'm just not doing
yeah.
a good job conveying it.
Well, and it's one of those things too where I feel like I'm not a good enough, like, actor that I can have a set story, and no matter what happens, I can make that work. I
Yeah,
I am
yeah,
much more of, I have an idea,
Yeah.
but I have to, and not in a wishy-washy way, but I'm more of a reactive, okay, this happened. How am I going to react to that?
Mhm.
How's that
Mhm.
character going to react to that? What does that mean for the overarching idea that I have?
Mhm.
I kind of like to play off because I don't know, I just always feel like I don't have a good enough ideas or I don't have,
Yeah, neither do
whatever. So,
I.
right. So seeing what the other creative people in the group have come up with, I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I can work into that," or,
Yeah.
"Oh, that could make this happen," or so and I honestly love those moments. I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah. Um, totally unrelated to this line of discussion, is there a wish list magic item you'd like Bula to get?
Ooh, magic item. Oh, there are so many good ones. So many.
Maybe,
I've got to
yeah.
remember that she has the Ring of the Ram because that one is
That
fun to
one's pretty
use.
good, yeah.
Um, she has a bag of holding,
That one,
which is,
I'm jealous. That's really cool.
oh, I don't know what I did to deserve that one, but I love stuffing food into it.
This is just my to go bag.
Yes. I mean, any enchanted weapon, obviously, she's going to absolutely love. I feel like if she had an immovable rod, there's some interesting things she could do with that,
Yes, that one's surprisingly versatile.
right?
But
Um,
Bobby says,
but I,
remember the radiant axe from playtesting? That was fun.
which one?
Was
Okay,
I there
from
for
play.
that?
I don't know. We did
Maybe
a,
I wasn't.
I think we did, that was one that we did a real high level one shot
Mm.
in our kind of playtesting and stuff. And it was, I do remember that.
Tell
It
us
was
about it. Tell us the
very pretty.
adventure you had.
I don't remember, I will be honest, I don't remember what the adventure was. I just remember that it was very, we started at, we just did a high level to see kind of how our characters would be at a higher level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think for that one shot, the DM, gosh, I can't even remember now if it was Kara or if it was one of the others, before that, said, "Hey, you each get one really cool magical item." Um, and I just got this absolute, like, crazy, gnarly, all the pluses and advantages, like glowing, beautiful,
Yeah.
slices through flesh and bone like butter axe.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And it like did so much damage, it was ridiculous. I mean, like, yes, yeah, magical weapons are an absolute yes.
Yeah. Do you feel like it makes you feel heroic to have something very powerful?
Um, yeah, I guess so. It's just one of those things where she's big and beefy,
Mm-hmm.
and it always makes me feel silly when she rolls like some huge number to hit, and it's great. And I can, say, oh, she takes her action, she does this, and I roll my damage, it's like two. I'm like, I'm a
Mm.
barbarian, dang it. I mean, at this point, as far as we are, like, it's never going to be just two, but it's, not that great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then somebody from the back line is like, I'm going to shoot a spell, which spells can do hella damage, but
Yeah.
they're, you know, from the back, and they're like, I do 47 damage. I'm the barbarian, dang it. I'm supposed to hit things. And I'm
Yeah.
just rolling poorly on my damage dice.
Your damage, yeah.
Yeah.
Even yeah. That's kind of interesting because I wonder if there's any theories about the separation of those two. Is like one how precise you hit and the other is how hard you hit? Do you think maybe that's it?
Yes. So if you think it, and this is going to get into all the like mechanics and stuff, um, but if you think about it, I don't know if you've ever. I'm sure you've probably never chopped a person in half with an axe. So we'll go with baseball. If you've ever
Okay.
like batted before.
I mean, I think
No.
so.
Okay.
Maybe.
So the hit would be the hit dice that you roll initially to see if you hit it is, did you connect?
Did I? Okay, okay. Did I
So
touch the ball? And
did you touch the ball with the
mm-hmm.
bat, or did you strike out? Now,
Mm-hmm.
So then once you hit the ball, so let's say you connect with the ball, you roll good on your attack, your hit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, your damage roll is going to say, okay, you made contact, but did you tip it off the tip of the bat
I
and
see.
barely
Like
hit
the
it?
power.
Did you
Yeah.
did you hit it smack in the middle, right where it needs to be, and it's going over the fence, and
I
you did it?
see.
You hit a home run. Um, so if you think about it in those terms, yeah, it's like, okay, so your hit dice is, did you connect?
Mm-hmm.
Your damage dice is, in what way?
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. That makes
Did
sense.
I nick his ear or did I cleave him in two?
Yeah. Do you think you assign value judgments based off of how well you roll? Like whether you roll lower or higher?
Me?
Yeah.
I shouldn't, but as a competitive person, I absolutely do.
Even though it's random?
And like you literally have no control over it. It's not like, oh, I'm a good roller. Like, it's literally chance. That's the whole thing
Yeah.
about it, is that it's chance. But and I don't know, sometimes it's really fun to role play some of those misses or critical misses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, like just how in the world did I do that? And then I'm thinking of like how I would do it in real life, and I'm like, that's how
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
tripped, or
Yeah, me
you know.
too.
Um, but yeah, I do. Sometimes I'm like, gosh, I'm not even playing good tonight, and I'm like, no, I'm just not rolling good. And
Yeah.
I have no
Yeah.
control over that. So, I mean, I try not to, but it happens.
Yeah, I think one of Kara's strengths as a DM is that she makes failure fun and
Hmm.
silly, and I think it can still be entertaining and fun to
Oh,
play. Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So
And
I
I
think
think
that
our
makes a
group
big
is good
difference.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've played in groups before where they missed and they're like, oh, I missed. Where I feel like a lot of us are like, oh, I tried this, I missed, but, or I've missed, oh my gosh, I'm going to go cry on a cheese cart.
Yeah.
You know, we still make our characters do something, because if
Yeah.
we were really there, you wouldn't just be like, oops. You would have a reaction. I feel like our group is really good about trying to have those reactions,
Yeah. Yeah.
or at least explain like how we magnificently missed.
Yeah.
How are we on fail army tonight?
Yeah. The comment is gotta get that great weapon fighting feat. Is that a feat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Some game systems have mechanics where you can succeed at a cost. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Like you hit, but you
yeah.
fall off the building?
Yeah. So, and oh my gosh, there's so many, like we're playing 5e. Okay. There are so many other gaming systems and they all have their own wonky little things. But yeah, it's like, okay, well, you can hit them, but it's, like you said, you either fall off the building or
Mmm.
um, you also nicked yourself, or you also, hit a bystander, or you're a
Yeah.
friendly, or,
Yeah.
you know, interesting things. Or you
Yeah.
break your
Oh, wow.
weapon.
I've never thought about that, but that would be interesting. I
Mhm.
wonder if we could incorporate that. Or maybe in a one shot we could
I
try.
mhm. there's a there's a system that I used to play all the time. It was kind of a D&D with some homebrew rules. And one of the things that we had, and I feel like I've talked about it before, we had a critical hit and a critical miss chart. And so, and it would be the kind of thing of like, you don't just miss. If you roll bad enough, you critically miss. And that means that you missed enough that you break your weapon, or
Oh
that
my
you
gosh.
broke your own leg, or that you hit your friend, or um all kinds of, or you fell over,
That makes sense. That
swing
makes
and a
sense.
miss.
I like that. I like
It
that.
makes a lot of sense, and I love playing with those charts. But it can be very unforgiving as well. I've lost
Yeah.
characters that way. So
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
yeah, either somebody else critically missing and I didn't have very many hit points left and I got hit, because it's usually like a roll of the dice. Like if you hit it and you um hit a friend or whatever, they'll roll a dice to see which friend you hit.
Yeah, Kartrick says, I've always liked that sort of system, but I understand why people would hate it. I also like it because I
Mhm.
think it gives meaning to your like the consequences to your actions,
Consequences.
like
It does.
consequences
It
to
gives
your roles.
consequences.
Yeah, I like that. It makes it more realistic. Yeah.
It does. And when I played, sometimes it keeps some of your players from doing some of those, like, why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know? And then there's actual consequences for you for
Yeah.
it. And so
Yeah.
over time they learn, oh, I might should be a little
Try to be
more
more
careful.
cautious. Yeah.
I
I was
might
gonna roll in there like
actually
Zada.
I was like, I should actually think this through and think it out as my character would and role play it
Yeah.
and you know, it's fun. I don't hate it, but like I said, I have lost good characters that way. So,
I like when the DM offers the option, how bad would you like to succeed? Oh, that's interesting.
oh, that is interesting. I
That's
don't
tasty.
know that, yeah. I don't know that I've ever heard one say that.
I guess you make a sacrifice to succeed.
Hmm.
That would be good. That's very.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting some good ideas,
I know,
especially for
right?
one shots. Maybe we could try it out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Um, I have the critical miss and critical hit
Yeah,
charts
I want to see it. Can you
here.
send it? I want to. I want to look at it.
Yeah, I have my version for when I DM'd the game. I tweaked it
Mm-hmm.
so that my players wouldn't know exactly what numbers were what.
Yeah, that's good.
Um, and then I think I have the one that we played with for years and years and years, to the
Okay.
point where
Everybody
we would roll,
knows.
yeah, we would roll a 20 and you'd be like, "Oh, that's a critical hit. Roll on the critical hit chart." So we'd roll another 20 to see what number on the critical,
Yeah.
like what cool thing you got to do or whatever. And then we would roll it and we'd all like just say it all together. Oh, the ultimate combo. Like, yeah, he's like, it's not fun when I don't get to yell it.
Yeah.
It's like, you gotta change your numbers, man.
Okay. I did promise that we would have a short tea time because you've had a very long day as someone who's juggling so much for us. Before we go, speaking of one shots, next Monday on the 3rd, this upcoming Monday on the 3rd, we have a pre recorded one shot.
Yes.
Can you give us a preview of your character or an intro of your character? Because yours is so good. I love it.
I love this character so much. And I wasn't sure. I was afraid she was going to be a little bit over the top.
No.
But I feel like everybody was a little over the
Yeah,
top. And so it
everybody.
worked perfectly. Like, this I can't even, like, you guys just have to watch this one shot. It's so funny watching because like all of us have never played together before Dion Rising.
Yeah, yeah,
Like we've never played other characters other than
yeah.
maybe once in our like in the auditions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like so what we know of each other is the role play that we're doing in
Yeah.
Dion Rising.
Yeah, so much so
And
that I confuse like you and Bula. I'm like, what's your name?
okay, but like let's be honest, mine just is me. Yes. So I was so excited when everybody started like explaining their one shot
Yeah.
characters because it's seeing everybody in like the most opposite they could possibly be. I cannot wait for people to watch this. Um, so so my character, her name is Gix. She is a very teeny tiny kobold. And she's actually an artificer. So constant tinkering. And she is not brave. Where Bula is in the beginning of
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Gix is like, how about we just not?
Yeah, yeah, but is that her voice? Robin, is that her voice? Is that what she
So,
sounds like?
kobolds they're little bitty, like, dragonish lizards.
Yeah.
So, of course, she had to have a lizardy voice. So, she loves things. She loves to tinker, so she just puts us inside of boxes and she takes all the bits and pieces and she puts them in the boxes and then she closes up the boxes and then she shakes the boxes and she does all the tinkerings with the tools and the whatnots and then she just whispers this to the boxes with the bits and the pieces. And then voila, we have news, fun inventions. Because Gixers loves inventions. They're the best.
Bravo! We love her.
And let me just tell you, it was so much fun to play. I can't wait. But yeah, just this whole team. I'm so excited about I don't know how much I can spoil, but your character is so happy and like floaty, but when you got mad, it was so hilarious. And then with and then Kara's actually playing.
Yes,
which is
that's
so
exciting. Yeah.
Her little pirate wench.
Yeah.
Bobby's super super conceited, just almost nasty
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
And then JP over there with his naive sweet giant thing. I was not expecting that personality out of what he described at all, and it was brilliant. Just so, yeah.
And then Dane with his voice
Yes,
changer.
I was like, who am I forgetting? Oh my gosh, Dane
We all cracked up.
he's a gnome, right?
Yeah, we all lost it.
A rock gnome. I died. And me and him had been talking and writing this little backstory about how our
Wait, did you
characters
have
met.
any idea he was gonna do that?
Oh my gosh, I did not. I feel like I just sat and giggled through this entire one shot. It was I laughed so hard it was making me cough. Just watching everybody interact with these new characters
Yeah.
was so fantastic. In every possible way.
Yeah.
I loved it. I had so much fun.
Yes, thank you for hyping it up. So everybody, please tune in to our pre-recorded one-shot on the 3rd. It'll be 7 Central, 8 p.m. EST, question mark? I think that's right.
Yeah.
I'm a professional. So thank you guys for staying for tea time and chatting with us. Thank you, Robin, for coming on and answering all of our nosy questions.
Always.
Thank you for watching, guys. Bye.